everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Globe interview series. I'm your host, Sunlight, and today I'm delighted to welcome onto the show Calvin Chan, founder and CEO of Legitimate Tech. Hey, Calvin, how are you?
I'm good. Doing well. How are you, Sunlight?
I'm good, thank you. So let's jump right into things, right? So can you tell me a bit about your background and your journey into the crypto sphere?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am technical in background. Started my career as a software engineer. Worked at various startups for the first few years of my career. But in 2017, one of my friends got me into the Ethereum space. He was actually mining Ethereum in his closet, and told me about it. And I got super interested in this idea of a decentralized computing engine. So that's kind of when I took the jump, and I decided to join my first crypto startup. I joined a startup called AirSwap. We were focused on building decentralized swap protocols. So basically, one of the earliest ways that you could trade cryptocurrencies and tokens. I was at AirSwap for just over a year, and AirSwap was actually acquired by Consensus in 2019. And today, most people would probably know AirSwap as MetaMask swaps. So if you've ever bought, sold, traded cryptocurrency directly on the MetaMask plugin, that's a product that I'm very, very familiar with, and a team that I'm very familiar with. But AirSwap was pretty transformative for me. I met some of my best friends in the crypto space through AirSwap. They're all out here doing amazing things now. But when I left AirSwap, I decided to start my own business, and that's kind of when the concept of legitimate tech really came into fruition. And in 2019, I founded Legitimate to bring NFTs to physical products.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. So can you talk a bit more about Legitimate Tech and your goals with it?
Yeah, absolutely. And more than happy to dive into kind of the nitty-gritty details later on. But really the vision for what we're trying to build is to provide, the next generation of retail with a protocol that operates with radical transparency. And what that means is, we're really on a mission to utilize the benefits of blockchain technology to address some of retail's biggest problems. For example, authenticity, provenance, sustainability, and even addressing things like the secondary market and beyond.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. So to go back to the sustainability part, is it something like you can see where each part of the garment has been made and what kind of energy has gone into that garment almost?
Absolutely. So in the lens of radical transparency, one of the things that blockchain provides is the ability to trace from end to end where the provenance of the item has been, where it's created, where it's manufactured, and also how many times it's resold. So specifically, one of the things that we are focusing on next is this idea of how do we incentivize customers to buy and reuse clothes, garments, luxury handbags, whatever products, again and again, so that at the end of the day we reduce mass consumption, and from a sustainability perspective, the provenance of that item is actually increased and pushed well beyond what currently is meaningful today.
Absolutely, that's such an important part of fashion right now as well. So to go into fashion, and I know you were at big events like New York Fashion Week and Art Basel. So can you talk about your kind of activations with various brands and creators at these events?
Yeah, and I think before we jump into that, it might help with a little bit of context, because I've been throwing around a lot of buzzwords up until this point. So functionally speaking, what Legitimate Tech does is we actually enable brands and creators to empower their products with NFTs. So we actually have physical integrations in the form of NFC chips that are integrated directly onto the product itself. So you can think, for a physical piece of artwork, the chip is behind the canvas. For a garment, it's in the size tag. For a handbag, it's in between two layers of leather. And what this enables, these brands and these creators to do is to empower their customers to scan these NFC tags with their phones, which actually allows these customers to claim an NFT or activate some sort of digital experience that's exclusive to the NFT itself. with that, background, for New York Fashion Week 2021, we actually hosted an emergent designer competition where we hosted, 15 designers from around the world. We received over 200 applications. We handpicked, 15 of them to display their garments on mannequins in a showroom during New York Fashion Week. And all the attendees of that event could actually come, scan the legit tags, is what we're calling the NFC chips, scan the legit tags that were on these garments, view the NFTs and interact with the designers and kind of their creations. For Art Basel, we worked with a luxury French brand called Faith Connection to tokenize 10 of their iconic pieces. So over the years, they've had 10 pieces that they're really well known for. And we integrated our technology with these pieces and enabled Faith Connection to auction them off during a 4-day event in Miami for Art Basel. Really, it was a spectacular way to introduce this new technology to a world that may not necessarily be so familiar with blockchain technology or NFTs.
Okay, yeah. So what were the kind of challenges you saw when at these events? Were people like, NFTs? Why do you need to combine this with my fashion? Did you face any challenges?
Yeah, actually, that question itself wasn't actually asked all too much. I think at the end of the day, it was definitely a cool factor that a lot of these customers, a lot of these brands really operated on. It was like, hey, this is actually really cool technology. We can go into the benefits and kind of the main selling points later, but one of the main challenges that we saw actually was around the education and the onboarding of newer customers. So if you can imagine, I mean, with New York Fashion Week and even Art Basel, for the most part, a lot of the attendees of these events, a lot of the potential customers that might bid on these pieces are not crypto native. They're not, Web3 native. So one of the primary challenges was onboarding them, teaching them what a wallet is, how do they set up a wallet, and even getting funds into their wallet so that they could bid on these pieces. At the end of the day, in the States, we have, pretty strict KYC AML regulations that you can't really buy crypto very easily and transfer it to an external wallet without going through, days of KYC and AML verification.
So there have been some really big name brands such as Nike and Adidas who are kind of dipping their toes into the metaverse with kind of promising physical products linked with NFTs. So in a way, they are your competitor. So what sets legitimate tech apart?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd like to kind of dive into this a little bit more in detail. And one of the things that we have noticed is that neither Nike nor Adidas have actually created physical products that are NFTs themselves. And I think we need to digest a little bit about what that means. For example, Nike purchased Artifact, the crypto company that released Clone X, more recently Monolith. And what Artifact did in the early days was, hey, if you owned one of their NFTs, you could actually claim a physical sneaker that they would produce and tie to the NFT itself. And the minute that they opened up this redemption process, about a week later, you would actually see their sneakers that you could claim were selling on a secondary market like StockX, and the NFTs were still selling on OpenSea. And functionally speaking, what you see there is a divergence in provenance. Basically, the digital and the physical product don't exist on the same plane. They don't represent one another anymore. And similarly, with Adidas and other Web3 projects that have released exclusive merch for NFT holders, you could see the merch actually selling completely separately and existing separately than the NFT itself. Fundamentally speaking, there hasn't really been a direct bridge between a physical product and an NFT. And legitimate tech revolutionizes that model and creates the notion of a physical NFT, which is a physical product with digital provenance that's backed by NFT and blockchain technology. So what we truly believe is that, hey, if you can create a product with digital provenance and link them and ensure that they're always one and the same, that could provide transformative benefits to a lot of the big problems that consumer retail faces today: authenticity, secondary markets, provenance, and things like sustainability and reusability.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, so it seems there are lots of benefits to having an NFT linked to a physical product. Could you go a bit more into that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just off the top of my head, and one of our biggest sort of selling points and value propositions for the brands and creators that we work with is authenticity. So if you think about the luxury market as a whole, it's that market deals with a counterfeit industry that operates on like 400 and 500 billion dollars a year, right? And these luxury brands, whether it's Nike or LVMH or Richemont, spend hundreds of billions of dollars just lobbying governments, cracking down on counterfeit factories, trying to engage in lawsuits with these manufacturers that don't necessarily represent their IP in the best way. Having an NFT linked to a physical product basically gives these brands and these creators the insight and the security of saying, hey, actually every product that's being sold can be traced back to its original manufacturer. Therefore, when you buy, something like an LVMH like product, whether it's a Gucci, a LV handbag, or a pair of sunglasses, it's you can verify as a customer, hey, this is actually legitimate. Hence the name, legitimate tech. But beyond that, we talk a lot about the benefits of NFTs in a more traditional Web3 space, where you talk about ownership, you talk about perpetual royalties, you talk about things like exclusive access. All of these concepts can now be mapped to physical retail brands with very, very low friction. So now when you go to, talk to a brand that sells sneakers, they don't necessarily have to have, a digital only NFT strategy. In fact, every single pair of shoes that they sell, every single pair of, sneakers can be an NFT in and out of itself. And they're then allowed to tap into the greater NFT ecosystem.
Let's talk a little bit more on the technical side of things. So what blockchain do you build on? Why did you choose that particular blockchain?
Yeah. So we're currently live on Ethereum mainnet and Polygon. The main sort of decision there was at the end of the day, I come from a background of building on Ethereum for years now. Polygon was a pretty clear path for lower fee transactions, at least on a L2 scale. But at this point in time, we're also considering other L1s, especially as it pertains to the community and the brand behind these different L1s. So, things like Avalanche, things like Harmony, those are all on the table. We haven't actually, built or deployed on any of those yet, but definitely not, we're not, bound to any singular L1, and we definitely consider ourselves chain agnostic.
Apart from marketing purposes, what benefits would launching NFTs bring to a brand or a company?
Yeah, so I think there has already been a lot of commentary on NFTs as a whole. So I think specifically, I would like to speak a little bit to physical NFTs and sort of the implications that it'll have on the larger retail ecosystem. So I've already alluded to authenticity multiple times. That's always clearly one of the biggest value propositions for bringing NFTs into your retail pipeline, is that, hey, now your customers have a secure way of verifying the authenticity of your product. But realistically, another thing that we haven't really talked about yet is the secondary market. For years now, luxury fashion, streetwear, retail as a whole has sort of ignored the prevalence and the need for a secondary market. And this ignorance kind of paved the path for companies like StockX, like The RealReal, like Rebag to come in and say, hey, we're going to build complete secondary markets around these products that, functionally speaking, a lot of people don't just use buy once. They buy, they resell, and secondhand is a viable option for a lot of consumers nowadays. The problem there now is that a lot of brands are not able to capture any secondary market revenue. So that's kind of where the idea of perpetual royalties come in, and how NFTs can be really powerful for these brands. It's an immediate and easy way for them to capture a market share of that secondary market in a way that's authentic to the brand as a whole, and also just blends in with potential marketing capabilities, community engagement. And at the end of the day, providing an additional touch point on the products themselves provides just very valuable insight into the customer kind of picture of the people that they're selling to.
Perfect. Amazing. And also, wouldn't you say that the resale market is kind of helping sustainability also in a way.
Absolutely. So one of the things that, we really preach is that, hey, with radical transparency, we can catalyze, solutions to a lot of retail's biggest problems. Sustainability obviously is one of them. Not very many people know that it takes, like, for example, 50 gallons of water to dye a set of t-shirts, right? So if we can incentivize not just brands to support a secondary market, but incentivize customers to buy and sell physical products multiple times, well, at the end of the day, that's reducing our overall consumption as a society and really kind of tackling at its core the main problem, which is mass consumption, mass production, and over utilization of these resources.
So do you see the mass adoption of NFTs within the fashion and art industries?
I think that the prevalence of NFTs will come in ways that most people are not aware of today or can't really predict today, right? At the end of the day, even us, we are still a fringe, company on the edge of technology that right now most people are focusing on NFTs as a way of building community, digital JPEGs, pictures of Bored Apes or CryptoPunks. And I think the future of NFTs really exists in, these retail brands, fashion labels, artists, using them in new and exciting ways, right? And we're here to provide a very baseline protocol for how you can bridge digital into the physical world. What that really does is it opens up a completely new canvas for exploration and for different new products to be built on top of our technology. For example, we're talking to an artist in LA who paints Kobe Bryant murals all over the city. And, one of the campaigns that he's working on with us right now, that he wants to paint over our legit tags and allow people to physically go to these murals and claim NFTs and effectively map out, their geolocation and kind of which murals they visited and which ones they've claimed. So this is a really exciting way for, an artist to really tap into kind of what the next step of NFTs could be. At the end of the day, we encourage this type of exploration. We encourage this type of creativity, and we're excited to see what's next.
Absolutely. It's so exciting to see all these new use cases for NFTs. Who knows what's next? Speaking of what's next, actually, what's next for legitimate tech?
Yeah, I'm very glad you asked that question, because we actually have something. We've had something. We've been cooking something up for a while now. And I'm excited to let you know, actually, you're one of the first people to hear this, is that we're announcing a physical NFT marketplace. It's a curated physical NFT marketplace that will be launching mid-May, and we're calling it Drops. And what Drops will do is it will feature the most relevant brands and creators releasing exclusive limited physical NFTs, utilizing traditional Web3 bidding mechanisms like auctions and whatnot, but allowing, community engagement and curation in terms of what drops, what products to feature, what brands to feature, and what creators to feature. The clear distinction here is that not only do you get the digital NFT, but you actually get the physical product that's bound to that NFT as well.
Oh, amazing. So where will we be able to find Drops?
Absolutely, yeah. So it's still kind of hidden and kept under wraps for now, but as long as you follow our Twitter, as long as you follow our Twitter, Legitimate Tech, our Instagram, also Legitimate Tech, most of our socials, we're going to be rolling out a very, very, exciting campaign to announce the release of these drops very, very soon. We're working with, right now we have about 10 creators and brands lined up to drop products with us. And some of them might be a little familiar to those who are well-versed in the crypto space.
How exciting. Thank you for telling us. Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you enjoyed the content, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So thank you, Calvin, so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm your host, Sunlight, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
See you later.